Hello students, let us understand about the exception handling topic today as a revision class from the Java programming subject. So let us understand all these topics in a form of the questions so that it will be easy for you to um have a glance at the time of exam to prepare. So let us have this short quick revision which will be helpful for you to revise your topics. So let us understand. So before going to that exception, first of all, we need to understand what is an error. So error is an some illegal operation or a bug in a program, which usually we'll be finding at the time of compiling your program. So first of all, what you do in your program, we write a program and we save the program. We save the program with some file name, class name, dot java, and after that after saving the program you do the compilation, and next you do the execution. So compilation is a first step where you are using the compiler, Java compiler, to check, to scan our program whether it is syntactically right or whether it is right or not. Okay, so next second one we'll use the execution time. What is this execution time or run time, we can call it as? So at this time we will be the Java virtual machine will be checking our program. It is going to create and it is going to check our program, and it is going to provide the output. Okay, so first of all, usually whenever we see at the compilation uh, any syntactical error, something like semicolon missing, any parenthesis missing, curly braces missing, so these type of errors are going to be identified at the compile time, and this is taken care by the Java compiler, and this is called as also called as a syntactical errors. So these are the things what we have discussed. Next, what can be an example for this? So the example for this is where you can see a program, a small example I have taken. So it's a main class. In this you have taken two variables and you have seen one variable has a sum, and the sum is in which the caps S is in a capital letter, and you are printing a value of sum which has an addition of 40 plus 60 you have saved in sum, and here you want to print that value. So that value is stored in under the sum, but here you have declared the sum variable with a capital S, but here when you are referring to print the variable value, it is referred with a small lowercase. So these both are not same, these are not same variables, and then it is going to raise that when you are trying to compile your program, and whenever you are using Java C and file name dot java, so it is going to throw some uh, syntactical errors. So what is a syntactical error? It is showing a line, and it's also throwing that cannot find symbol sum, because the sum is not identified here as it is not declared in the same format. So that is how it is an example for a compile time error, that is also called as a syntactical errors. Next, moving upon to the runtime errors. So we have one more type of an error after the successful compilation. After the Java C command we are successfully, there is no error message, there is no syntactical errors, no syntactical errors. Okay, so we are going to use Java command at the time of running a program. If you want to run a program, we are going to use Java and file name. At the time of running a program, sometimes you may not have a proper a positive way approach of output. Sometimes you get an output, sometimes it may not, you may not get an output. What may be a reason? Okay, so there this type of errors will be handled by the Java virtual machine, and this is at the time of running a program, these types of runtime errors are identified. So what is an example for runtime error? Now we can check here one example given in this. there we have taken a variable 1, 2, 3, and you can see the values which we assigned, and we are going to do here variable 1 is 15 by variable 2 is 5. So there is we are not this is executed perfectly. So this expression is executed perfectly with an value and an output. Next, coming to variable 1, 15 by 0. So this expression is throwing some infinite value. It is throwing some infinite value. So this type of expression will be abnormally terminating the program. So it is going to terminate immediately without executing the other type of statements which is valuable. Okay, so in this case this is right, and in this case this is wrong. Means it is throwing an error and it is not throwing any error. Because of this statement, the complete program is terminated, and it is just terminating a program, and it is going to throw an message saying that it is something, an arithmetic type of error. So which is raised by the Java virtual machine. So this type of errors are called as runtime errors. Okay, so this is about the compile time and runtime errors. Hope it is clear till here. So next, shall we move? So how do we going to handle this runtime errors? That is the topic what we are supposed to discuss. So how do you are going to handle the runtime errors? Runtime errors are handled with the help of exception handling. Runtime errors are handled with the help of exception handling. In this exception, so what is the difference between if you are using an exception handling and without a program with an exception? This is an program without any exception handling, and if you are using any exception handling, how do you know that the program is within the exception handling? That is, we have try and catch blocks. We are going to use try and catch blocks in the program. So you can see there is no keywords of try and catch block in this example. So that is the difference between with an exception handling and without an exception handling. If it is a without an exception handling, then the program is terminated abnormally, means in between, without handling the rest of the code, the termination of a program is going to be done abnormally, and you will not get any outputs for the remaining statements. That is how that is not the correct way the program has to be executed. It should be handled in an appropriate message, and the remaining code has to be executed when there is no errors for the next statements. So in order to handle in that type of way of execution, we are supposed to use exception handling. So that is the topic, the next what we are discussing. So now before going to that, so first of all we have an exception. Java exceptions are of two types. One is built-in exception, second one is user-defined exception. Built-in exceptions are all predefined exceptions. Built-in exceptions are all predefined exceptions. Okay. So, and user-defined exceptions means you are customizing your exception. So, I am writing our own exception. So, based upon the some condition, based means condition is created by you and exception is also created by you. So, that's why it is called as user-defined exception. These are all built-in are the predefined exception. When the question is asked, explain about the different types of exceptions, you are supposed to write this answer. That is, types of exceptions means you have to write all the built-in exceptions. These are all the built-in exceptions you need to write with an example. So you can write any arithmetic exception as an example. So what is this built-in exception? We have arithmetic exception, array index out of bound exception, class not found exception, file not found exception, IO exception, interrupted exception, no such field exception, no such method exception, null pointer exception, number format exception. These are all predefined classes. These are all predefined classes which is under exceptions as a superclass. This is a superclass. Okay. So under this exception class, all these exceptions are inherited. Clear? So next. So now suppose, so what is the purpose of this built-in exceptions? Suppose if I have any of the any number division by 0, so based upon the expression what you have written, based upon this expression it is going to throw an error. What type of error? Infinite value it is going to throw. So when this it is having some infinite value, and this has to be handled without termination of a program, so it should be handled with an appropriate class. So among this list of 14 classes here, it has been mentioned, among these 14 classes which type of nature it is relevant, that class is going to be used for this. So that is how the built-in exception is used. If suppose I have an array of size 0 1 2, so three locations I have, but I'm accessing fourth location. So I'm accessing fourth location. This is where he doesn't have the fourth subscript here. So this type of statements will becomes under array index out of bound exception. So depending upon the um, exceptions are the expressions what you are writing it, depending upon the statements what it is going to throw and exceptions, you are going to specify or mention the relevant exceptions should be used in your program to handle it. That's why we have all these 14 different types of exceptions to handle. Next, how do you write this exception try and catch block, which is represented in a form of a diagram, and everybody whenever the diagrams are given you are supposed to write it so that it will score your marks. Try always gives you the statements which may throw an exception, may throw an error. Okay, if this statement has to be written in the try block which may throw an error. So if it is throwing an error, immediately after the try block we should immediately write the catch block, and the catch block should hold the appropriate exception type to handle. Okay, so meaning is that if it is throwing 5 by 0, if it is 5 by 0 is an arithmetic exception, immediately it has to be caught with arithmetic exception. So it has to match what it is throwing and what type the class you are mentioning it. This both has to match. If suppose if there is an array index, something you are accessing an array, the location which is not existing. Okay, I'm using some a of 10. Is that a of 10 is there in this 1 2 3 locations are there, but you are accessing the 10th location. Where is the 10th location? There is no 10th location. So if you are using this, the catch block should hold array index out of bond exception. So this is how you are going to supposed to use. Clear, students? So next, moving upon the syntax. So what is the syntax here? Try and catch block, and I have seen so many students are writing wrong. Try will not have any parenthesis. Okay, try, and we have catch, and there is no capital letters, should not write any capital letters, and in the catch you need to mention the exception type. The exception type, just now we have seen array index out of, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception. So whatever it is matching, the try it is throwing, that relevant to the try expression, this the exception type should be written. So this is how you are supposed to write down the syntax. And moving upon, so you can see that the below program is just represented with this diagram, where the value here is 10 by 0. It is going to throw an exception, and exception, if it is handled as, then the rest of the code is executed normally. Normal execution is going to be done without any termination. If it is not handled, then termination terminates the program abnormally. In between, just it pauses the program and it stops, and it is not going to execute the remaining code. That is the where the use of these exceptions are going to be used. In this example, let us check here. It is a main class. In this main class, we have used ABC, and in the try you can see that 5 by, so A is 5 and B is 0. So if you are using this expression and you got this value, so it is going to throw an infinite value. So immediately this is going to throw an exception saying that which is relevant class suitable for this 5 by 0 is arithmetic exception. So immediately this catch block will be handling with an appropriate message cannot divide a number by 0. So the output will be seen as cannot handle cannot divide a number by 0. So as you have written this message will be shown on the screen, and just not terminating it, but remaining code is also going to be executed. What is that remaining code? You can see this is a catch and this is an out of the catch. So that's why this message is also written out of the catch block. Here just wantedly we have written this statement so that it is not terminating it just by throwing this message, but also after this statement also the remaining code is executed normally. That is the here we are going to understand with an example. Hope it is clear. Next. So you have one more example of array index out of bound exception. Suppose in this is a main class and it's a try block. In this try block we have used an array, and in this array the locations are 1 2 the values are 1 2 3 and the subscripts are 0 1 2. And can you see that you are printing a value of this number of 10. Where is that number of 10? There is no 10 subscript, so that is catch. Immediately it is going to catch with, here it is matching with an array index of the bond exception. That's why you have written array index of the bond exception. So and next something went wrong is the message what will be shown on the screen. This is one more example of array index out of. You can write any one example for the exam, or if suppose in the exam they only mention to write about the arithmetic exception, you need to write only arithmetic. In the example, if I have mentioned that explain about the try and catch catch blocks with an example of array index of the bond exception, then you are supposed to write only array index of the bond exception only. Next, moving to the multiple catch statements. So previously we have seen that there is only one exception type throwing and it is catching only one exception. Suppose you have some situations where we have multiple exceptions to be thrown and multiple catches has to be used. So multiple exceptions, how do you throw in same try block? If it is having multiple, suppose take an example 5 by 0 is there, and later on you are using some index value of something 10 which is not existing. This both statements are there under the try block. If both the statements are there in the try block, this is one error, this is another error. So a single catch block cannot handle the two different types of exceptions. That's why this is two different types of errors. It is a two different types of errors. So we need to have two different types of catches. We need to have two different types of catch blocks. And I have observed so many students are writing catch 1 and catch 2 and brackets. This is wrong. You are not supposed to write catch 1 and catch 2. This catch is a keyword, so you are not supposed to write the catch 1 and 2. So you can, the 1 and 2 has to be mentioned only for exception type 1 and exception type 2. Meaning is here you are writing arithmetic exception, here you are writing array index of bound exception. So which one has to be written first? You can write in any sequence, it is not mandatory. So you can write any of the sequence. Next. So in this example you can see this, there is in a try block, you can see there is a one try block that is mandatory. We are just writing only one try block and multiple catches can be written. And in this try block you can see there is an array of 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, so we have 5 location 1 2 3 4 5 location, that is an array. This is an A array. A of 5, do we have any subscript of 5? No. And 30 by 0, so this is one error, this is another error. There are two different types of errors. This is array index of the bond exception, this is arithmetic exception. So here you have written an arithmetic exception. As I told you that you can write in any sequence arithmetic exception, array index of the bond exception, and it is a general one where we are going to use catch exception. Exception is all super class where all the arithmetic array index all subclasses of the exception types. So this is a generic one. So if you want, this is an optional. Till here it is all optional. If you want to write it, you can write it. If not, these are all optional. Till here, these two catches are mandated to write. This comes as an example for multiple catches. And the students, whenever it is asked for an essay question, please do not write only these 2 or 3 lines. You are supposed to write an exception. What is an exception? Okay, and you need to write the predefined exception list, array index, out of bound exception, all the types of exceptions you are supposed to mention. And later on you need to write how this multiple exception and the single try and multiple exceptions are used. So as it is a short video, so I'm not explaining all those things. So you need to write the what is the drawback in a single try block, because it can handle only one exception. To overcome that, if we have in a try block a multiple statements which is throwing a multiple exceptions, different types of errors, then we are supposed to use a multiple catches. So you need to write an elaborated answers. If you are not writing the theory much, you will not score marks. So this is how we are going to write down. This is about the arithmetic exception. Next about the multiple catches. Next, moving to the last topic about the throwing an exception, or the throw a user defined exception. So this question can also be asked, explain about throw keyword. So if the question asked about throw keyword or user defined exception, answer is same. When do we use this user defined exception? Something the customizing the exception. Suppose take an example. From the above list, 14 types of exceptions we have discussed, we have checked here in this list. Arithmetic exception, array indexes are all predefined classes. Suppose from the list of the predefined classes, let us take an example that I want to create a minimum balance. If the minimum balance is not less than, if it is less than 2000, I want to throw an exception. Okay, if suppose any person age is less than 18, I want to throw an exception. So these are all some customized exceptions. Suppose if I want to check marks, if maximum marks is 100, but I am using some 150 as a value. So this is the marks. When it is in 100 has a maximum marks, you cannot enter 150. So here also that is going to throw an exception. These are all not these are all customized, means we are creating our own exceptions. When you are creating your own exceptions, this all built-in exceptions cannot be used. So what we are going to use that now, you need to create an exception. So what is that we are going to create? It is with the help of throw keyword. For this we have a separate throw keyword. Here we are not supposed to use try and catch. Here we doesn't use try and catch. Instead of that, we use throw keyword, the other keyword. Try keyword is used for built-in exception. Throw keyword will be used for the user-defined exception. So now in this, what we are going to use that, this is a user-defined something, a class name, and we written one method called as check age. And in this age, you created one constraint, one condition. If age is less than 18, if age is less than 18, okay. So throw new, syntax is this. So that is an example. So how do you write a syntax? Let me write down here. So throw is a keyword, throw new, and here you are supposed to mention the exception type or a class. Okay, and this you need to write a message, appropriate message. This is a syntax of writing it. So here throw new, so as it is, we are just using it as an arithmetic exception. So you are going to use arithmetic, and the bracket you are going to write access denied. You must be something like that, some relevant message you are going to mention in this. And next we are going to use else. So it is an if condition. If this condition is true, then the throws the exception. If not, it moves to the else block, saying that you are old enough and access is granted, something when it is a false. This is a false statement, this is a true statement. True when something age is here in this example, In this example, we have given the age of 15. If 15 is a value, then the true block will be executed. If suppose you have given the value has 20, then the false block will be executed. The meaning is that 20 less than 18, the condition is false. Here 15 is less than 18, condition is true. That's why you are throwing an exception. So throw keyword will be used only when the condition is met, and when the condition is not true, then you are not using any throw keyword. It executes the program in a normal flow. Okay, so in the main class you are creating an you are calling this check age as a predefined method. Sorry, check age as a user defined method. You are just calling it. And how do you are calling? You did not create any object because it is static. You can call this method with a class name. You can call this method with the help of a class name as it is a static. Suppose if it is not a static and you have written normally without any static keyword, then you need to create object here. After creating an object, you need to call the method. So this is how you are going to call the creating a user defined exception. So here you have got that access denied for the value 15 because you have given the 15 value here, and this is how the user defined exception is an example. So hope this video will be helping you out to understand the topics, and all the best students.